Gotta see where we can get to with this jump.
Right.
Let some people come in.
All right. Yeah, we need to get the people to come on in. Come on in.
Cause yesterday I couldn't even get through this jump. These people.
Well, I already know we have our biggest fan, Akil out there. How you doing, Akil?
Oh, I didn't even know he was snooping around. I'm talking about just the information of like how like impossible this thing was. This thing was Mission Impossible times 9/11.
Right. And everything was well organized and orchestrated. So they'll pull, the wool over the people's eyes. So now, it was the anniversary yesterday, and you marvelously, showed a CGI and how they didn't show CGI on certain videos when
Right.
I knew myself I watched a CGI when I seen two planes, more not one, two planes hit the Empire State Building. So
Towers.
yeah, the towers. Yeah, not the building.
Same state though. Ain't too far off.
Right.
Might as well have been in Empire State, right?
Yeah, I used to work for them. You know what I mean? I used to do the little tourist attraction thing when I was in New York. So yeah.
So quick little recap of where we at so far. So we've dealt with how they could still find passports in molten lava. We've had a cover up of engineers and chemists that act like they don't understand the difference between Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. We
Right.
have we have crazy of how there was not really a plane that hit the a Pentagon, but a missile.
Yeah,
And then
that
they
was
had an American
CGI orchestrated too. Not to cut your wisdom, Noble, but that was CGI rendered too. But go ahead, more.
Oh yeah, of course. CGI was in effect. It was right after Matrix 2 years after Matrix came out.
Right.
What they call that? Bullet time camera trick.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we showed. Then I had to go into a little bit deeper of what. Oh yeah, wait. Let's talk about how the bombs were from the bottom. Let's talk about how parts of the building caught parts of the two twin towers falling caught building 7 on fire, and it burned it to the ground. So fire can now knock buildings down somehow. We've heard everybody that was on the ground that was there speaking about how they heard the 4th of July going on in the building.
Because they demolition the buildings. That's what happened.
And we seen everything. And then one of the things that I wanted to really add in that Loose Change never covered is what went missing from under the tower. So we got missing gold. We got a 1700s ship, and I was trying to find where they admit that the ship was a Moorish ship, or they call it Muslim ship. But Muslim ship, we have over 40,000 buried Muslims. So this is so not only was there gold under there and a ship, but there were Muslim graves. So this is the holy ground for Muslims.
Yeah, that they robbed, that they ravished, that they pillaged.
And then they had the nerve to call them West African.
Right.
That's the goddamn.
And we in the East. We're not West Africans. I wish these people will put that West African stuff to bed. Okay, we're not.
Right. Carlos Clunes, right?
Right.
Carlos Clunes, right? Well, put it to bed with them, the eugenicists. They created this like homunculus of a reality. It survives off of people's ignorance.
Look, they say black ignorance is $1 billion industry. So all you people that like to call yourselves black, you need to get up out of that rendition of calling yourselves that. Islam.
Oh, more. Oh, yes. when I was in my little, travels, I noticed a new flag of a certain group of people. You know, this flag basically it incorporates all the different what would I call this? Special interest groups, right? I want to remain politically correct, whatever that the hell means.
Right.
So these special interest groups, they have a new flag where it incorporates the rainbow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it has an upside down pyramid on the arch of the flag. So, and let
me say something before you say something more. Okay, first of all, the rainbow is nature's. It's nature's.
Yeah, the Inca flag, the Inca flag.
Yeah,
we get it.
Gay, lesbian, or whatever. That's not your damn colors. Okay,
Right.
I hate to put it in this way, but that's not your damn colors. Okay, the rainbow is significant to nature's laws. Okay, not no damn gay Sodom and Gomorrah shit. Okay,
so and more. Let's get this one out the way. Aren't rainbows just an illusion based off of?
It's illusion. It's a perception that we can say, yeah, there go a rainbow right there if we both in that vicinity. Okay.
Yeah, but we can't go to get the rainbow because it's not. It's just bent light appearing to be real.
Right.
So let's get out of these colors.
Right.
Understand that's color of law. Just hyperventilated. So wait. So when I watch it.
Yeah, and not just that, they got the rainbow on the flag, and then they got our pyramid, which is we are the ancient mound builders. They call mirror mounds, okay? And when you flip something upside down, what's that? What is that more when you flip something upside down?
The stress.
It's the stress and it's off balance, right?
It's turning the energy upside down. It's like let's say we take it down a notch, aka we negative it. Right. Which is now we understand a negative energy is the feminine, but if you're subjugating the feminine for, a bad application of it,
or patriarchy, right? Which is patriarchy is nothing but a phallus. You see what I'm saying? You can't have a phallus without without Venus.
Exactly. Okay. So you're subjugating mother again.
They need to stop it. They need to stop.
But wait, let me show you how they're doing this flag. They got the rainbow, and then with the upside down pyramid, they incorporated I know you've seen the Nicki and Megan the man horse that video, because that's a male horse.
Yeah, it is a male horse. That's why she called herself stallion. Do you know what a stallion is? A stallion is a male.
Well, wait, right? A castrated male, castrated male horse, stallion.
Right.
Wouldn't it make sense if her name was Megan the Maurs, Megan the Mare? Yeah. Megan the Mare, that goes better than Megan the Stallion. It's Megan the Mare. But you're not okay. Anyway, let's just think about where this is going here. In their video, they had a decoration of a pool that had another flag that I didn't even know about. The transgender flag or transsexual flag. Right?
Hold up right there, Maur. Hold up right there.
Well, wait, watch this. They incorporated that flag, and on the top of that flag, this is what I wanted to get to. They have the color brown and black.
Huh.
On the top of it. On the top of that upside down pyramid is brown, black, and then the colors that represent transsexual. So how did they incorporate brown and black into the special interest group?
They incorporated because they want our people to swing that way. That's why.
Now, BLM is the LGBTQ community. Just understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Just understand that they have the flag and everything. So let them go.
So now let's just put this in perspective more. Now
think RBG flag. Think Pan Africanism.
Yeah,
think about it. Think about it. Pan sexuality. Yeah. Right. Think about it.
Yeah. Then you got the LGBTQT, right? Which is in secret. You see what I'm saying? It's really running this world. Okay. Pedophilia, right? Then you got the blood drinking rituals, right?
Oh, wait, hold on, Maur. Wait a minute. Before we get all carried away. Let me share this screen real quick. So let's get this. Hold up. Because we're going in. Hold on, more. Hold on.
I got
Hold,
you.
hold on now.
I got you.
Fair use. This is fair use. This is the
Fair
right.
use.
This
Fair
is
use for
all we
educational
are
purposes
doing.
only. For
That's
education
all we're doing. This is for
only.
entertainment. More. I'm not educating anybody on anything. Just entertainment.
Okay.
Like what comedians do, right?
Okay.
You
Right.
know, it's nothing serious, right? So let's
Right.
get back to the slaughterhouse. Okay.
Mhm.
So, is this okay? Screen still shared. So let's while we talk, we already know where we're at with this.
Mhm.
We got these confusions happening, and our point of going into that other realm is to show you that I think this little event opened up certain gateways that allow things that were never cool or never accepted and all this stuff to be now a thing again. Uh, Mass mandates,
Right.
global pandemic stuff, all of that after this, right?
Right.
Because first it was not. It was first it was Y2K, right?
Mhm.
They scared everybody into a fake event just to
Right.
get them to switch into a digital world instead of analog. Remember?
Right. I remember that.
Nothing happened
Nothing happened.
but
Nothing
the Matrix. That's the
but the
only thing that
Matrix.
happened.
That's all they did was wire us with more gadgets and phones and all this stuff they was using 60 years ago. All they did was bringing it to the public use.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute, Morris. Before we get carried away,
Okay.
hold up, Morris. Hold up. Oh,
Okay.
man, I'm about to go. See, more. It wasn't supposed to be all this, but now we got to do this.
I know, more.
Now we got to do this.
Every time we get together, it always do that.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, more. You know they didn't did it. They didn't did it. They
Yeah.
didn't did it. Hold on. Let's check this one out.
Oh, more. That's my movie right there. I got to have it.
No, more. Hold on.
Yeah.
They ruined it. Never mind. Let's
just
let me
play
get
it.
a good one. Let me get a good one.
Mhm.
Good one right here. Here we go.
Thomas.
Oh,
Stop playing with us,
come
man.
on.
Stop
Come on,
playing
you
with us.
haters.
Stop
Ooh.
playing with us.
They hate it. Oh no, we gonna file what? F all that. F all that.
There you go. We got smoke.
Ooh, these. Ooh, yo, this is funny. This is hilarious, boy. I just watched it. What they talk about? We can't watch it now. Oh, let me see. Let me see. Why can't we watch it?
I don't know.
Okay,
Mark.
okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Thomas. You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened? I've had dreams that weren't just dreams. Am I crazy? We don't use that word in here. Hi.
Have we met? 1 pill makes you larger, and 1 pill makes you small, and the 1 certain other pills don't do anything at all. Go ask Scarlett when she's 10 feet tall.
Time to fly.
You want the truth? Yeah. You're going to have to fly me.
The only thing that matters to you is still here. I know it's why you're still fighting and why you will never give up. You don't know me. No? going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
Yo,
So,
Maurs,
so,
that's gonna be the shit. You heard me?
so I'm looking at like how they're like showing you this is messed up because this ain't what this ain't what Mother Sophia. This is what she's talking about, like how this don't have nothing to do with her movie.
Right.
In her movie, they free themselves, and it's
Right.
like they free everybody from the Matrix. In this movie, it seems like there's no way to break it. It's like it's always going to be reoccurring because every time the Matrix restarts, he's going to be born back into his sleep.
Right.
So you got to go wake him back up again and wake him back, and then different versions of the Matrix won't have certain people. So in this version, Morpheus is a young guy. Like it's like redundant, but we'll see.
We'll see, because like I said before, more like they always take what we give and then they perverse it how they want to perverse it. Islam?
Yeah, the black cat. Yeah, the black cat. The black cat is back, guys. Y'all noticed at the end of the last movie, the black cat came back. That means the Matrix it started over. So Neo was just a reset button.
Right.
Now what? The real one was Agent Smith. He's the one who was changing the Matrix as he saw fit. You know, melanin popping out of everybody's heart chakra. But never mind. And then he even had a scene where he called the Oracle his mother.
Yeah. Because the Oracle is his mother. And we all come from the Oracle. See what I'm saying? So you have to really go into it to really understand it's a matriarchic world, not a patriarch. Just patriotic by itself. No, you have to have matriarch and patriarch. Can't have one without the other. So if you have patriarch, then you subjugating the mother, then you living wrong. You're what they'll say, you living foul. So that's what Moors have to combat on a daily basis. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. And this is the part where they have a hard time to go into certain stuff that we broke down through our consciousness.
Right.
Principles of the mother. It say Smith likely called Smith. So they're not even sure. Smith likely called the Oracle mom as a reference to the fact that she is the mother of the Matrix, rather than as an indication that she's his creator. Why couldn't it be that she was his creator? Why not?
Why not?
Why couldn't she be the program to create certain things like that?
Yes, that create reality, that create, you know what I mean? Because in this reality, we do everything for the mother, but yet we subjugate it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so that's the Matrix. Like, we are in a backward society. We are doing things that we're not naturally not supposed to be doing, because in nature's laws, you see what I'm saying, that doesn't happen. But in man-made brains own ideas. That's why civilizations plummet and rises and falls, because man choose to live a certain way instead of just being in harmony with nature.
Yep. So like the Matrix is making its comeback, but like I said, the first Matrix is 2 years before the 9/11, which is having its 20-year anniversary this year. It's funny how the Matrix was supposed to come out like 2003. I mean 23 or 2004 or something, and it just jumped up to 2021 out of nowhere.
Right.
What is that?
Oh, because they've been waiting on to release another one. You see what I'm saying? They just didn't know how to sneak it past. So now they figure, well, what's going on now? You know what I mean? This is the perfect time to put it in. So
he saw the preview and said, "They think he me."
well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. So let's get back to this crap, man. Jeez Louise, where's we at? 122. We can watch his speech one more time. It was crazy.
Right.
Firefighter John Schroeder arrived in the lobby of the North Tower shortly after the first plane struck.
So we're standing there in the lobby, we're getting all together. All of a sudden, we hear. I look down to my right, and the elevators exploded, some kind of like a Bruce Willis Die Hard movie. People just come running out of the elevators, on fire, fireball. I mean, it was like, what is going on here? Something's up here. I mean, the plane's up there, now there's fire down here. People run around all on fire. It's crazy. We were heading up to the 24th floor of the stairwell, and all of a sudden we heard, Mayday, Mayday, second plane, second plane. We're looking at each other like, come on, second plane? There's no way there's a second plane. Within seconds, our building got rocked. We got bounced around in the stairwell like pinballs, man. And we just said, you know what? Time to go. We got down to the lobby, and everything was blown out, exploded. Everything was, okay, we were the only ones in the lobby now. Wait a second here. Where is everybody? Because the building was coming down the outside. They moved the command post to World Trade Center, too. So now we're like, we didn't get no, where is everybody? We were in the lobby. Oh, it looks like everything was exploded. Everything was gone. We're like, what is going on here? We didn't know. We were like, this is crazy. But for every window in the lobby to be exploded, I mean, them windows were like as thick as spaghetti. They were 2-3 inch glasses. You know, come on. They exploded out of the lobby. You know, something. It wasn't from the jet fuel. No way. The elevators exploded. They were down from the lobby. The lobby was over here. That should never have happened. Something would happen there, and that wasn't. We came down. It looked like a bomb went off in the lobby. There was no fire. It just looked like a bomb went off.
So, how was the largest and most puzzling architectural failure in history treated? The steel from the World Trade Center was mostly shipped overseas, eliminating any possibility of independent investigations. New York City's Department of Design and Construction contracted 4 companies for debris removal.
More, what is with this number 4 with this thing?
It's on a ritual, a mathematically 4. They doing everything in a sequence. So
they have 4 planes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a jump. There's 4 war games taking place at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's 4 different companies to ship the damn metal overseas.
Right.
To where?
So it's 44.
Yeah. Oh. In New York, right?
Yeah.
44th Street. Yeah. This is it, Jay-Z. Yeah. People are just. Yep. Codes everywhere.
Codes everywhere. Codes everywhere.
Each was assigned
everywhere.
A specific zone and controlled and monitored by a 3-person team. The operation was so controlled that in November, each dump truck used for removal of debris was fitted with a GPS locator. One driver took an extended lunch break and was dismissed from the job.
Oh.
By April 2002, over 185,000 tons of debris had been removed from Ground Zero. FEMA's Building Performance Assessment Team was not even granted access to Ground Zero. They were granted a tour of the site in early October, but were forbidden from collecting samples or examining blueprints. Out of hundreds of thousands of pieces of steel, 150 were preserved at Fresh Kills landfill, from where FEMA conducted its investigation. When the Twin Towers came down, they released over 500 tons of pulverized asbestos into lower Manhattan, along with lead, barium, mercury, chromium, copper, and several other toxic chemicals. 425,000 cubic yards of concrete is pulverized. 600,000 square feet of glass is turned into dust.
Oh my God.
During the World Trade Center's construction, spray-on fireproofing comprised of concrete and asbestos was placed on the core columns. When asbestos was outlawed in 1971, they ceased this procedure at the 64th floor of the South Tower. The Port Authority eventually realized that the asbestos presented a problem, and demolition was not an option. In 1989, the Port Authority estimated the removal of asbestos from both the World Trade Center and LaGuardia Airport would have cost up to $1 billion.
No, not more.
Yeah, I heard it.
That's how much gold.
Yeah,
How much gold went missing.
yeah. They said 1.1 trillion though, more.
Oh, what in the gold missing?
Yeah.
I mean, hold up. I gotta go back in, but I thought it was a billion, and then they when they added all the different from Comex or whatever, they added up all the different distributions from clients and stuff, and it was 750 and then 950 million at the end of our total of Jones. But then there was a whole, they said majority of $1 billion went missing when Rudy Giuliani was investigating it.
Yeah, I thought it was 1.1 trillion, but it could have been 1.1 billion. So
it was 2.34 trillion that Nancy Pelosi had got, that went missing under her watch, under the Obama commission.
Okay.
That was like, I guess that's the fiat that was based around this whole thing. He was just cleaning it up.
2001, the cost for the World Trade Center buildings alone would have met or exceeded $1 billion. This money would sadly not be needed. Although it was clear that the air was not safe to breathe, the public was urged to return to Lower Manhattan. Wall Street opened back up on September 17th, and children were allowed to go back to school. Firefighters, police, and rescue workers were allowed to toil in lethal conditions using paper masks from Home Depot, while government officials walked around in hazmat suits.
My name's John Field. I was hurt at Ground Zero during the cleanup. Wow, I was only there for 5 days before I was horribly injured. I mean, horribly injured. Leading up to that day, every day I was there, I complained that it was a safe work. Someone didn't get hurt. It just happened to be me. But I let everybody know that someone would get hurt. I was there for 5.5 days, and nobody told me to wear a mask once. Nobody gave a shit when that piece of steel altered my life. But like the thousands that are suffering and sick, I didn't roll over and play dead. And I know human life takes a backseat to the almighty dollar, and that's what makes this country roll and run, is the almighty dollar. But you guys somewhere along the line lost your credibility with me. On field, I was hurt during the cleanup. Wow.
Listen.
I was only there for 5 days before I was horribly. I mean, horribly. Leading up to that day, every day I was there, I complained that it was a safe work, but someone would get hurt. It just happened to be me. But I let everybody know that someone would get hurt. I was there for 5.5 days, and nobody told me to wear a mask once. Nobody gave a shit when that piece of steel altered my life. But like the thousands that are suffering and sick, I didn't roll over and play dead. And I know human life takes a backseat to the almighty dollar, and that's what makes this country roll and run, is the almighty dollar. But you guys somewhere along the line lost your credibility with me.
Oh shit. Got part. But that part was crucial because we're talking about mask mandates, right?
Right.
When he needed the mask, he said nobody gave a shit about him wearing a mask.
Right. And all they gave a fuck about it was the mighty dollar.
Hey, he said human life takes a backseat to the almighty dollar. So based off of that, now that they're forcing people with a mask when they don't need it, but they didn't even tell him to wear one when he needed it, when metal was all okay. That's how you could tell this thing is by design, and it's all subjugation. Bend to our will. That's what this is. Bend to our will. And if you get tricked into doing that, you lose all your rights.
Right.
That's the game that they're playing.
Right.
Wait, keep going.
And the many more that have died. I take this personally now.
Oh, that's a different part. Hold on. Okay. Right there. All right.
Someone will get hurt. I was there for 5.5 days. Nobody told me to wear a mask once. Nobody gave a shit when that piece of steel altered my life. But like the thousands that are suffering and sick, I didn't roll over and play dead. And I know human life takes a backseat to the almighty dollar, and that's what makes this country roll and run, is the almighty dollar. But you guys somewhere along the line lost your credibility with me.
The Environmental Protection Agency, under direct orders from the White House, told New Yorkers that the air was safe to breathe. The administrator at the time, Christine Whitman, issued an internal memo on September 12th, declaring that all statements to the media should be cleared through the National Security Council before they are released.
So what happened? The White House changed EPA press releases to add reassuring statements and delete cautionary ones. September 13th, the EPA draft release, never released to the public, says EPA testing terrorized sites for environmental hazards. The White House changes that to EPA reassures public about environmental hazards.
This is the news letting you know that the White House was doing BS.
Yeah.
This is before more. I swear to God, like I swear to everything that makes anything move.
Yeah.
Before 9/11, they didn't lie like they do now. There
Right.
were lies, but it was a threshold to it. It was
Right.
like you can literally see certain real news. It's like it sounds crazy. It'll sound crazy to anybody who's born into a world where all they know is fake news.
Right.
This is crazy. They're like, listen to this is the news clips. Like people forgot about.
Yeah.
September 16th, the EPA draft says recent samples of dust on Water Street show higher levels of asbestos. The White House version, new samples confirm ambient air quality meets OSHA standards and is not a cause for public concern.
Yeah.
The White House leaves out entirely this warning, that air samples raise concerns for cleanup workers and office workers near Water Street. Why all these changes?
More.
Now, you see how they making a mandate for people to wear masks, right? But in this instance, they was not telling nobody to wear no mask.
It was not safe, right?
Home, because it was deadly asbestos in the air, right? They wasn't telling nobody none of this, but they'll tell the public and write statements that, you know what I mean, the air is clean and is backed by OSHA and all this, that, and the third, right? So these people are flat out liars, and they don't understand that this government is corrupt to the bone, but they'll argue us up and down, talking about, oh, this is a democracy and this is the United States and all this, that, and the third. Please, these people are not credible. They're telling you right now on this news clip that these people are not credible, but they still want to argue with Maurs. Okay, all right.
So they will, like, basically, if they disagree with the narrative that the actual professionals of environmental pressure and gas and all that, APA and OSHA, they're goddamn professionals at that. If they're not going along with the narrative, then the White House will just change it. Now think about the administration that the White House was under at this time. Biden, 47 years of a crime bill.
Mm-hmm.
The same exact people that got back in now were in there before. And now
that a catastrophe happened and a state catastrophe and then they want to risk people's lives, you know, saying that it's safe to go in the public, but then in reverse, they saying it's not safe because it's a COVID, C thing, that is going around. You see what I'm saying? So these people, they blatantly lie in our face and expect that we're supposed to just eat up everything they say. You know what I mean?
And how come the only person that's not involved into this, all this scheming stuff, or had any, benefits given to them resulting from it, is Trump. Right. There's no mention of any Trump anything around this stuff.
Right.
But you got the Obama, you got the goddamn Bush, you got the goddamn Biden, all of it, Pelosi, they're all involved.
Right.
Their hands are dirty.
And they so dirty that they grimy. So
yeah. This obvious. All of this obviously is what led to stuff like Obamacare and stuff like that. Like when they could do things like 9/11, change the world to color of law that won't ever go back to normal. Like nobody's ever going to get the damn TSA out of the airport. People are so acquiesced to it now. It's almost like they think they're supposed to be there. There's not supposed to be a TSA in there, guys. You do know that, right? All that time you're spending to get yourself checked and X-rayed and felt up and then X-rayed again and then take the shoes off. That's all BS. They're telling you that people snuck bombs into an airport.
Right.
The bombs wasn't at the airport; they was at the building.
Right.
They should have a TSA in the New World Trade Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way it would make sense. What are they doing it for? Because they have to play with a narrative that people that are still alive, by the way, boarded a plane and flew it into buildings. But the people, they found all of them still alive.
And they did it with some box cutters, more.
Oh yeah. Box cutters. Oh, and didn't happen to know how to fly planes.
Yeah.
Masquerade is a mask. Like a ball. Like a play. Like a stage.
Are you gonna dance or are you gonna sit this one out?
Right. Guys, fucking blackface, Jesus.
Told that a desire to reopen Wall Street and national security concerns were the reasons for changing the press release.
Christy Togwood should be in jail for manslaughter. Christy, go to jail. Do not piss. Just go to jail. Lock yourself up. When I said that, everybody said, "Don't you think that's a little harsh?" And I said, "No." 6 months later, but like the thousands that are suffering and sick, I didn't roll over and play dead. And I know human life takes a backseat to the almighty dollar, and that's what makes this country roll.
No, that's just the one I want.
Everything is go to jail.
Office workers near Water
I
Street.
need that one.
Why all these
that was
changes?
key.
We were told that a desire to reopen Wall Street and national security concerns were the reasons for changing the press release.
Christy Togwood should be in jail for manslaughter. Christy, go to jail. Do not piss. Just go to jail. Lock yourself up. When I said that, everybody said, "Don't you think that's a little harsh?" And I said, "No." 6 months later, every politician was saying it. Everybody was saying it like it was like saying hi. I pat myself on the back for having the nerve and the audacity to say that. She took orders from Condoleezza Rice, who took orders from the White House. They knew the air was bad. They lied. You should go to jail for manslaughter. Every time somebody dies, James Sedroga, Don Jones, Tim Keller, my close personal friend, who I had to go to his funeral, Officer Borgia, and the many more that have died. I take this personally now. I take it real personal. You got an ex-mayor running for president who claims he helped us. Standing on a pile with a bullhorn, Mr. President and Mr. Giuliani, does not constitute helping anybody at all.
The EPA's public release.
I knew Trump was playing him close for a reason, bro. I knew it. Trump, swamp drainage, bro. Like Giuliani was under code. You come over here and you work, bro. So I don't send your ass to, you know, where everybody else going.
Right.
Work your debt off real quick.
Right.
Ah, this is crazy, more. This is crazy. Now he just made me understand. Like, let's look at this. They got people crying over deaths of people that didn't really die, which is covering up the people who really died, because the people who really died is part of the propaganda, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't that crazy? So these people, him hurt, he can't even get no justice, he can't get no lawyers or nothing that fight his case because it never happened. The ocean, the White House never did that, right? Fake news and snoops and goddamn fact checkers and all that. To tell that man they got his damn bronchial system all effed up off of metal breathing. No, you're wrong. The EPA never. That's just conspiracy. Hint: my health is conspiracy theory.
Right.
When it get that crazy, you gotta check the trust you have into this thing that you call a government.
That's what I'm saying. More like
this damn thing that you call a government.
So.
Police assured people that there was no significant level of asbestos in the air, and that instead of evacuating, they could clean their homes with a wet rag. More.
Damn it! That's the same thing, more. They said use hand sanitizer.
Yeah,
they really think people are stupid.
Yeah.
Damn! And then look, everybody got their goddamn hand sanitizer, goddamn glued to damn parts of their car. Like, what's wrong with people? What are y'all doing? Niggas got like little things that they put on the side of their door, so as soon as you come in their house, it's like a little dispenser. What is that for? So everybody that's coming in the house touch that when they coming in and out. I don't want to touch that now. You need a rag, wet wipes to even get the damn hand sanitizer.
You're right.
Why is hand sanitizer cleaner than water?
Right.
You can't drink that.
Right.
But it's cleaning your hands. Water you could drink. Don't, man. People, bro. You know. That's silly. Go back.
Tim Keller, my close personal friend, who I had to go to his funeral, Officer Borgia, and the many more that have died. I take this personally now. I take it real personal. You got an ex-mayor running for president who claims he helped us. Standing on a pile with a bullhorn, Mr. President and Mr. Giuliani, does not constitute helping anybody.
Right.
At all.
The EPA's public release assured people that there was no significant level of asbestos in the air, and that instead of evacuating, they could clean their homes with a wet rag. More people will die post 9/11 from these illnesses than died on the day itself. By 2006, 70% of the 40,000 Ground Zero workers had developed respiratory problems. Hundreds of them had developed cancer, and over 80 had died.
God.
To make matters worse, a large majority of the victims from the World Trade Center were denied a decent burial and treated like garbage.
More.
Yeah, I see it more.
They ain't give them a proper burial.
Nothing.
Damn it! That's like starting to remind me of the prophet.
Yeah.
Why? You treating these people that fought for this country of the so-called, right? Why you treating them like this? They believe in all that stuff. You gonna treat them like this?
And then you disregarded them like garbage, like.
And these people wonder why that's a banner.
Right.
You don't care about the people that die for them. That's funny.
Pile of approximately 500,000 tons of ash located at Fresh Kills landfill contains 1,148 victims that have yet to be identified. Mayor Bloomberg has repeatedly denied family members' requests, replying, "I've only visited my father's grave once."
Oh my
On
God.
top of all of this, human remains were discovered up to 400 feet away from the South Tower, on the roof of the Deutsche Bank building. 300 bone fragments were discovered between April 7th and 14th, 2006, and more are expected to be found.
What?
Is all of the above possible with a gravity-driven global collapse? Were the Twin Towers brought down as a result of the airplanes that struck them and the fires that followed, or were they brought down in a controlled demolition?
All
All right, some new information coming in. Report from Associated Press of a large plane crashing in western Pennsylvania. This is according to officials at the Somerset County Airport. A large plane crashing in western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that plane crash. I'm sorry, go ahead, Skip.
Say it again. Repeat, please, Skip.
I'm saying somebody may have made that horrible decision to go ahead and take the plane down.
Oh. What? Wait. More you hear that?
Yeah, he said somebody made that horrible decision to take the plane down.
What do you mean?
He said that they blasted out of the air, or
What?
did they take the plane physically down?
What? Take it down, but it's like okay, White House giving more weird commands to get okay, now these people aren't doing training, they're shooting passenger ships. I hope that didn't really happen. I hope that didn't happen, and that's why we don't see no fragments in Pennsylvania, because they shot it out there.
Yeah.
But yo. Well, let's see. This is all staged. Let's see.
10:03 a.m. Shanksville, Pennsylvania. United Airlines Flight 93 allegedly plows into an abandoned strip mine at 580 miles per hour. 20 minutes flying time from Washington, D.C. Originally, the official story is that passengers on board the plane overthrew the hijackers and sacrificed themselves to prevent further casualties. The 9/11 Commission will later conclude that hijacker Ziad Jarrah, anticipating a cockpit overthrow, crashes the plane into the ground. Debris from Flight 93 was found considerable distances from the crash site.
The debris here is spread over a 3 to 4 mile radius, which has now been completely sealed off and is being treated, according to the FBI, as a crime scene. This is one of those cases where the pictures really do tell the story, that sort of the most horrifying aspect of this particular crash scene is how little.
I don't see no scorches or shit on the ground, more.
I don't see no wing, more.
All I see is debris.
I don't see no wing. I don't see no cockpit. I don't see no tail. I don't see no passenger seats. I don't see no nothing. Where's the plane at? Where's the plane at? Oh, okay, here we go.
Debris is visible. That's really all you see is a large crater in the ground and just tiny bits of debris. There has been at least one report that the investigators out there, and there are hundreds of them, as I said tonight, have found nothing larger than a phone book.
Well, Darren, in the last hour or so, the FBI and the state police here have confirmed that they have cordoned off a second area about 6 to 8 miles away from the crater here where this plane went down. This is apparently another debris site, which raises a number of questions. Why would debris from the plane, and they identified it specifically as being from this plane, why would debris be located 6 miles away? Could it have blown that far away? Seems highly unlikely. Almost all the debris found at this site is within 100 yards, 200 yards away. So it raises some questions. We don't want to over speculate, of course.
It seems to me, from covering a number of plane crashes on the scene, that if nothing else, you can say this is not typical for a plane crash to be spread across an area this large.
It certainly doesn't make sense, because most of the debris has been found in a very compact area within 100 yards, 200 yards, maybe a little beyond that. And then all of a sudden they're telling us 6 miles away, they have another concentration of debris. They say it's very small pieces. Most of these are very small pieces. Most of the pieces here are no bigger than the size of a briefcase, they say. And the pieces 6 miles away, maybe even smaller than that.
Did they find a plane in Shanksville?
Within the last hour. I want to get quickly to Chris Kanicki. He was back there just a couple of minutes ago. And Chris, I've seen the pictures. It looks like there's nothing there except for a hole in the ground.
Basically, that's right. The only thing you could see from where we were was a big gouge in the earth and some broken trees. from where we could see, there wasn't much left.
Any large pieces of debris at all?
No, there was nothing that you could distinguish that a plane had crashed there.
Smoke, fire?
Nothing. It was absolutely quiet. It was actually very quiet.
Where are these news clips?
Right.
Where are these news clips at?
They don't want to show you those.
There's people dropping it.
Yeah. And it looked like that it wasn't no crash, like somebody blew something up in the air and some, you know what I mean, fell down like that because there's so much debris over 6 miles. So that's like something.
A passenger? Was it even, or was this even a passenger plane? Was this a drone plane?
Right.
Remote controls.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing going on down there. No smoke, no fire. Just a couple of people walking around. They look like part of the NTSB crew walking around looking at the pieces.
How big would you say that hole was?
From my estimates, I would guess it was probably about 20 to 15 feet long and probably about 10 feet long or 10 feet wide.
What could you see on the ground, if anything, other than dirt and ash? And
you couldn't see anything. You could just see dirt, ash, and people walking around, broken trees.
From the Somerset County coroner to the mayor of Shanksville, almost every eyewitness would remark how little of the plane and its passengers remained.
But when I got there, I wondered to myself, where is it? The plane was just totally disintegrated. The only thing we didn't see were people.
Hey.
Nothing to indicate that there was even anybody on the plane.
I remember asking a state trooper that was there to be sure, is that where the plane went down? It was so hard to tell because there was nothing around.
The Pennsylvania state website puts it best. It is difficult to believe that a 757 plunged into the ground with such force that the plane literally disintegrated and created a still smoldering crater. Is there any historical precedent for a commercial airliner disintegrating upon impact?
Emergency services realize their task is hopeless. John Heavey and his team confront the horror of the scene. The twisted wreckage of 191 lies scattered for hundreds of meters. Debris had smashed into the trailer park, destroying 5 homes.
In 1988, Pan Am 103 exploded in midair over the town of Lockerbie in Scotland, killing 270 people. Terrorists checked a bag containing a bomb into the hole, but didn't board the plane. The sea below them is on fire.
The governor is saying that the pilot was able to dump fuel over Jamaica Bay.
It immediately veered over to the right, and it came nose down only a block away from where I was working.
And the room just exploded. My daughter got...
These more riches, New York. They're going off. They're going off. What are we even dealing with here?
They're trying to say that it was malfunction in the planes or something like that.
This sorcery at its finest.
Mm-hmm. They get you to go spin. You know what I mean?
What did you say?
I said, you know how like they want to spin the narrative and get you to look over here when you're supposed to be looking over there.
Oh, more like I've seen that this is like a thing now, and it's even people that are in the industry somewhat to do it. Like I've been watching Murder Moot. He does this thing so well. It's like, wow, that's exactly how the news people do. It's like you're listening to somebody talking, and then you take some other narrative that you're making up, basically. It sounds like it's good, but it's like it's nothing that you can't prove that it's real. Right. But everybody goes with that because of how it sounds and how it makes everybody react. And, oh snap! Look at that! Oh snap! He just called you out. But there's no proof to it.
Right.
So now there's no proof to his stuff, and it makes your proof seem like that's a lie.
Right.
This is what these people do.
Patio doors. My wife got blown into the living room, and I got blown out the patio doors behind my daughter.
Several blocks away from the primary crash scene, the aircraft may have been rocked by vibrations severe enough to knock the engines off the wings.
Jim, let me just tell our audience what you're looking at. These are from Jamaica Bay. This is clearly a part of the plane.
Yes, that would be the horizontal stabilizer, the vertical tail fin on the back of the airplane.
And then more.
In 2000,
Then they probably was showing those planes too, because how they looking at the other planes just like nothing but debris. You know what I mean?
This dude just said they need to do Notaro, like the like the towers obliterated to dust.
Just dust more. Like
mixtape music in the back. Hot beats. Like what was happening? Like
oh man. That's like, you know, chopper style off your, you know what I mean, Family Jewels or something like that. You know what I mean?
French nationality, here we go. Here we go. Every single time.
Like,
yeah,
really.
Moroccans, man.
2006, during the trial of Zacharias Moussaoui, the FBI managed to provide a multitude of evidence that appears to have survived a catastrophic crash in near pristine condition. Among the exhibits were a red bandana, a Kingdom of Saudi Arabia driver's license,
wow,
John Talignani's driver's license, and flight attendant CeCe Lyle's personal effects, including her driver's license and Marriott hotel card.
It's travel documents in Maurs paraphernalia. What's going on?
Right.
Although a 757 managed to obliterate itself upon impact, paper and fabric managed to survive without a scratch. They also released pictures of an engine and 2 pieces of fuselage. It is not specified where those were found. Once again, the FBI stepped in to supervise every aspect of the investigation. They repeatedly denied family members' requests to listen to the cockpit voice recorder. The FBI gave in on April 18, 2002, as long as the victims' relatives didn't talk about it. And for some reason, the last 3 minutes were unaccounted for. No explanation has been given. Even after Zacharias Moussaoui's sentencing, the actual cockpit voice recorder has yet to be released. The 9/11 Commission concludes that the military was not informed of Flight 93 until 10:07, minutes after it had crashed.
We heard the explosion. Actually, our power had gone off, and then we felt a tremor. We had just gotten up, and the next thing I know, it sounded like a missile came across our house. I mean, they were going that fast. It was flying. It was coming from that direction. I have no idea what it was. Oh no, it wasn't the aircraft that crashed. No, it's hard for me to believe that they did not know about that aircraft until 10:07. That's difficult for me to believe.
Despite the discussions about military assistance, no one from FAA headquarters requested military assistance regarding United 93, nor did any manager at FAA headquarters pass any of the information it had about United 93 to the military.
A year after 9/11, military officials were telling an entirely different story, that Flight 93 was being tracked.
In the Pentagon Command Center, there's a report of another hijacked plane, United Airlines Flight 93.
We received a report from the FAA that
they made movies.
Yeah.
They made movies about this.
Right.
What? Oh my gosh, bro! All these people is going to movies to what? Nicolas Cage defend a goddamn plane. Jesus Christ! This is
Flight 93 had turned off its transponder, had turned, and was now heading towards Washington, D.C. The decision was made to try to go intercept Flight 93.
The rules have changed. We can do something about it now.
Colonel Bob Maur is in command at the Northeast Air Defense Sector base in Rome, New York.
The words that I remember as clear as day was, "We will take lives in the air to preserve lives on the ground."
Maur orders his air controllers tell the pilots to intercept Flight 93.
United Airlines Flight 93 will not be allowed to reach Washington, D.C.
The closure time came and went, and nothing had happened. So you can imagine everything was very tense.
Flight 93 is about 175 miles north and west of Washington, flying over Somerset County, Pennsylvania. Up above, a fighter jet streaks by.
It was about, 10:03 that the fighters reported that Flight 93 had crashed.
Eventually, of course, we never fired on any aircraft.
When you heard the plane was down without a shot being fired at it, do you remember what you said?
We just witnessed an act of heroism.
Was Flight 93 downed by hijackers in an open field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania? Or is the truth being withheld from the public?
I want to tell you that we are getting word from New York right now that another building has collapsed. I understand that this is a 47-story building.
It's building 7 of the World Trade Center, we understand, has collapsed.
47 stories, building number 7, 747.
Mm-hmm.
To 7-Eleven.
Mm-hmm.
Now watch this magic that they do.
It's in New York, and there you saw a video of it. Now, whether we don't even know whether this was something that was engineered for safety reasons or it just happened.
For the third time today, just reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
In 1984, construction began on World Trade Center Building 7, a 47-story office building, 570 feet tall, and 300 feet away from the North Tower. It opened to the public in 1987 and housed offices for Department of Defense, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Internal Revenue Service. Building 7 was...
Oh my gosh. Oh. The records. The records for.
Oh,
the records. Oh my god, I can't with this stuff, bro.
Everything was staged, more. Everything.
World Trade Center Building 7, a 47-story office building, 570 feet tall, and 300 feet away from the North Tower. It opened to the public in 1987 and housed offices for Department of Defense, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Internal Revenue Service. Building 7 was considered the Central Intelligence Agency's largest station outside of Washington, D.C., and was also the Secret Service's biggest field office. Numerous cases would be closed due to its destruction. On June 8, 1999, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani's Office of Emergency Management Command Center on the 23rd floor is opened.
The command center on the 23rd floor is bulletproof and bomb resistant, with its own air supply and generators. It's linked to city airports, the Coast Guard, and the Pentagon. Computers will soon have detailed blueprints of every major building in New York City, as well as evacuation routes. Hurricanes and heat waves would be handled here, as well as terrorist attacks. Though New York officials say their facility is not impenetrable, They're confident it could handle even the worst crisis imaginable. Deborah Thayerick for CNN, New York.
The 50,000 square foot center has reinforced, bulletproof, and bomb-resistant walls, its own air supply and water tank, beds and showers, and 3 backup generators. It has countless monitors which oversee police and fire department responses, and it is staffed around the clock. Hours before the first plane would strike the World Trade Center, Building 7's alarm system would be placed on test status at 6:47 a.m. for a scheduled period of 8 hours. This normally occurs during maintenance, and any fire alarms from the building are disregarded.
Come on.
After the second plane strikes the South Tower, the building's power is shut off, and its tenants are evacuated. The major fires in World Trade Center 7 were as follows. On the east face, between floors 11 and 12. On the north face, on floors 7 and 12. On the west face, between floors 29 and 30. Smoke obscures the entire south face of the building. By 3 p.m., Chief Daniel Nigro of the FDNY had set up a collapse zone around Building 7.
What?
That collapse zone.
After 4 p.m., news outlets began reporting that the building had collapsed.
We are getting information now that one of the other buildings, Building 7 in the World Trade Center complex, is on fire and has either collapsed or is collapsing.
We've got some news just coming in, actually, that the Salomon Brothers building in New York, right in the heart of Manhattan, has also collapsed. Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York.
That was Masonic architecture. I mean, Moorish architecture. That's Solomon building.
Yeah.
Here they go with this stuff. And then look how the whole thing is based on saying that Islam is doing this to them. Oh, the Islamic jihadists, they're attacking America. They're attacking us. The war on terrorism. Like, what's going on? Terrorism attacks in U.S. How does terrorism attack?
Right. It's all propaganda, you know what I mean? So they can get rid of buildings that's connected to us and make it like it's an attack on us from somebody else, and it's all staged, all actors, you know, military war games, you know what I mean? Which
how does the belief system attack a corporation?
Right.
I've heard a few moments ago was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were, and it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent Jane Stanley. Presumably there were very few people in the Salomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because this whole downtown area behind me has been completely sealed off and evacuated, apart from the emergency workers. That was done by the mayor, Rudy Giuliani.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched. I was wondering what it felt like for you being in Manhattan. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley in Manhattan. Perhaps we can rejoin her and follow that up later.
Where did CNN and BBC get their information, especially when the building was still standing directly behind their reporters? The collapse.
What in the hell, Maurs?
Right.
That's crazy. They're talking about it was he's talking about it collapsed and it was right there.
Yeah, behind him, and he was like, where they get the information from?
Damn.
Collapse of the building at 5:20 p.m. would cause speculation as to how it fell. The collapse of the main structure takes place in approximately 6.5 seconds.
Look how fast it falls.
The building falls symmetrically into its own footprint, barely damaging the surrounding structures. It will create a pyroclastic cloud that mushrooms down surrounding streets. Initially, it is assumed that the building's diesel tank may have been responsible for the collapse.
Come on.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency's report in 2002 will state that the specifics of the fires in WTC-7 and how they caused the building to collapse remain unknown at this time.
Man.
Please.
FEMA does analyze the collapse of Building 7, but then they say our best hypothesis has only a low probability of occurrence. This needs further investigation. And I certainly agree with them on that. Then NIST is handed the ball, kind of a hot potato. Okay, NIST, you will explain the collapse of World Trade Center 7, this rapid, straight down collapse of this 47-story skyscraper.
Sadly, by this time, virtually all structural steel from Ground Zero had been recycled, and no steel was recovered from Building 7 for investigation. As of this date, NIST is still working on their final report.
Well, NIST decoupled the study of the collapse of Building 7 from the analysis of the collapse of the towers. So now it's sitting over here. The report on the collapse of Building 7 from NIST is long overdue. We're still waiting for it, hoping they have an explanation.
We are looking at it. There's actually a very good write-up recently from Controlled Demolition Experts, which you probably ought to read. We haven't finished the investigation yet, so I'm not at liberty to talk about any intermediate findings.
The collapse is assumed to be caused by a combination of fire and structural damage. Did any other surrounding buildings suffer a complete collapse at near freefall speed? Building 3, a 22-story building directly below the Twin Towers, was split in half by the South Tower's collapse. Although the building was severely crushed by falling debris, the structure remained standing. Building 4, a 9-story building east of the South Tower, was almost completely destroyed. The remaining structure did not collapse. Building 5, a 9-story building east of the North Tower, suffered from severe fires and structural damage. Building 6, an 8-story building between the North Tower and Building 7, suffered a giant gouge in its roof and severe fires. Neither Building 5 or 6 suffered global collapse. Neither did the Deutsche Bank building, which stands to this day and is currently being demolished beam by beam. Neither did the Millennium Hotel across the street. Building 7 burns over a number of floors and suffers structural damage to its south face before collapsing completely to the ground. Did anything occur inside the building that might cause a collapse?
We started walking down the stairs and made it to the 8th floor. Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor. And I turned to Hesh. I said, "This is it. We're dead. We're not going to make it out of here."
And we have Frank Uciardo back on the phone with us, Brenda, with some New York City officials. Frank, go ahead.
That's right. I'm standing here right now up just off Broadway by City Hall with Michael Hess, who is the city's corporation counsel. Mr. Hess, you were trapped in, I believe, 7 World Trade Center. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I was. I was up in the Emergency Management Center on the 23rd floor, and when all the power went out in the building, another gentleman and I walked down to the 8th floor where there was an explosion, and we've been trapped on the 8th floor with smoke, thick smoke all around us for about an hour and a half. But the New York Fire Department, as terrific as they are, just came and got us out.
Their experience is mentioned by NIST's interim report on Building 7. However, the authors claim it is the collapse of the North Tower. The glass on the ground floor was not even blown out. Would debris and smoke rushing up the stairway be described as an explosion? So, we have a 47-story steel-framed skyscraper, which housed various government agencies and numerous important documents, damaged less than the other World Trade Center buildings. At 5:20 p.m., all structural elements inside Building 7 simultaneously fail, and it collapses symmetrically, imploding into a pile of rubble. This building had 81 columns, 24 core, and 57 perimeter, running from the basement to the roof. For the building to have collapsed the way it did, all 81 of these columns had to collapse simultaneously.
Right.
Could fires on a few floors have heated up all these columns to the breaking point at the same time? Let's ask the 9/11 Commission.
Governor King, may I ask another question, please? At 5:20 p.m. on September 11th, World Trade Center building number 7, 47-story modern frame steel skyscraper that no plane hit, collapsed into a neat little pile onto itself and exhibiting all the characteristics of controlled demolition. FEMA, in their investigation, didn't say that. They said the fire must have knocked it down, but they couldn't figure out how. Video evidence shows what appears to be explosive squids going up the side of the building from south to north or from bottom to top as the building collapsed. There was molten metal found in the basement of that building at temperatures that exceeded anything normal fire could cause. With all the confusion about what happened to Building 7, why is there not a word about the collapse of that building in the 911 Commission report?
We didn't see any evidence of the kind of thing you're talking about. We thought that was part of the tragedy of 9/11. There was no evidence later on. It was not a lot of loss of life in that building. It's not part of our report.
Not part of the report. Thanks.
So for the 9/11 Commission to totally ignore.
What? Bro, disappearing buildings and just not even saying nothing about it.
Right. Because he already know that will control demolition. You know what I mean? That's why he didn't want to speak on it. Because he think that people are just stupid and think that these buildings just collapse, you know what I mean, out of nowhere or something like that. Come on.
Because they got to suspend a true narrative and just keep rerunning the tragedy. Like how he said it, we just thought it was part of the tragedy.
Right.
Oh, the tragedy. People died and people was lost and their lives lost and terrorists were killed. And that's what it is. Just why are you so neglecting the people that died? Like that's what these people do.
Right. But they're not looking at the main corporate, who was behind of making these buildings fall, who was behind the whole scheme of things. Why these terrorists just all of a sudden overthrew and overpowered, you know what I mean, these people with box cutters and shit. Like, come on.
Because the terrorists are calling, are calling the actors terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's not looking at the true terrorists; they're looking at these actors.
Right.
Or that, I think, is unconscionable and shows that they did not do a thorough job.
Did Building 7 collapse because of damage from the falling North Tower? Or was it also a controlled demolition?
Reactie op de beelden die we laten zien is onbevangen.
Zie je vanaf boven gaan? Nee, je gaat vanaf onder.
Die gaat vanaf onder, ja.
Oh?
Ja.
Ze hebben gewoon kolommen weggeblazen. Het is nagesprongen.
Dit valt anders dan het World Trade Center.
Vind je niet dan?
Ja, je ziet het. De onderste verdiepingen gaan eerst.
Ja, en de rest staat er gewoon in. Dus dit is controlled demolition.
Ja.
Zeker weten.
Zeker weten. Het is nagesprongen. Het is in opdracht gebeurd. Het heeft een team gedaan van experts.
Maar het is ook op 11 september gebeurd.
Dezelfde dag?
Dezelfde dag.
Dezelfde dag? Weet je dat zeker?
Ja.
Als het zeker weten de 11e? Kan je waar zijn.
7 uur nadat de World Trade Center naar beneden viel.
Ja?
7 hours after.
Hebben ze hard gewerkt?
They worked hard. Wow.
He said a team of experts now.
Yeah.
In the aftermath of 9/11, citizens and politicians alike would demand that steps be taken to ensure such attacks never happen again. In late January 2002, Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle receives calls from both President Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney, urging him to limit the investigation to the House and Senate committees. The administration would continue to oppose the investigation until November 2002, when Congress creates the National Commission on Terrorist Attacks upon the United States to make a full and complete accounting of the circumstances surrounding the attacks. Democratic leaders concede several aspects after the White House threatens to create the commission by executive order, giving themselves considerable control. President Bush officially signs it into law November 27, 2002, and names Henry Kissinger as chairman of the 9/11 Commission. The Chicago Tribune puts it best. Kissinger is known more for keeping secrets than telling the truth. On December 13, 2002, Kissinger resigns from the 9/11 Commission, due mostly to a congressional demand that he disclose his private business clients. It would later be revealed that Kissinger was the chief advisor to the Bush administration regarding the Iraq War, a lie which has now cost more American lives than 9/11 itself. Thomas Kean and Lee Hamilton are named as chairman and vice chairman of the 9/11 Commission. By December 16, 2002, 10 official members of the 9/11 Commission have been appointed to state elections.
Gary Field. What?
And the man missing from this picture? Philip Zelikow, Executive Director. He would shape both the commission and its final report. The 9/11 Commission begins its investigation with a time frame of 18 months and a starting budget of $3 million. January 27, 2003. The 9/11 Commission holds its first hearing in Washington, D.C. Vice Chairman Lee Hamilton will claim a few days later, "We're not interested in trying to assess blame. We do not consider that part of the Commission's responsibility." March 26, 2003. The Bush administration denies the Commission's request for an additional $11 million in funding. 3 days later, the Commission is offered $9 million, and they accept. In April 2004, President Bush agrees to testify before the 9/11 Commission, but only if Vice President Dick Cheney joins in. Why do they insist on appearing together?
The 9/11 Commission wants to ask us questions. That's why we're meeting, and I look forward to meeting with them and answering their questions.
Why you're appearing together rather than separately, which was their request?
Because it's a good chance for both of us to answer questions that the 9/11 Commission is looking forward to asking us, and I'm looking forward to answering them.
On April 29, 2004, behind closed doors, President Bush and Vice President Dick Cheney appeared.
You know why he wanted both of them to be there? So they wouldn't get caught up in those lies more. You heard me?
Dick Cheney, the marathon.
Yeah, because they're all in it. So why not have my co-defendant with me in the same room so we can, not be, contradicting each other. You see what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. Bush is a fucking criminal. Dick Cheney is a fucking criminal.
Yeah.
See? ISIS. Dick Cheney was the one who ran ISIS.
For the most side.
So, they trained them and, all this, that, and the third. So who's playing games?
This shows you like how these people operate these games.
Yeah. Well, you can go ahead and go ahead now. More. I just wanted to interject that. That's all.
And watch what he say about this meeting.
Right.
Here together before the 9/11 Commission for approximately 3 hours. They are not placed under oath. Their testimony is not recorded, and the Commission's notes are subject to White House censorship.
President, as you know, a lot of critics suggested that you wanted to appear jointly with the Vice President so that you two could keep your story straight or something. Yeah. Can you tell us what you think of the value of appearing together and how you would answer those critics?
Yeah, first of all, look, I mean, if we had something to hide, we wouldn't have met with him in the first place. I came away good about the session.
What?
I think they found it to be useful. Yeah, Adam.
Mr. President,
Yes.
don't you think that the families deserve to have a transcript or to be able to see what
Adam,
you
you
said?
asked me that question yesterday.
For
I got the
answer
same answer, yeah.
Wow.
May 19th, 2004. Rudolph Giuliani testifies before the 9/11 Commission.
We will now hear from our first witness, the very distinguished former mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani. Mayor Giuliani, would you please rise and raise your right hand and place you under oath?
And the fact that so many of them interpreted it that way kept a much calmer situation and a much better evacuation. These people.
Simply wasting time at this point. Could be used. Please.
Thomas Kane and Lee Hamilton will later claim in their book, Without Precedent, that they were too soft on Mayor Giuliani. One of the questions they failed to ask was who warned him that the South Tower was going to collapse.
Mr. Mayor, can you hear me?
I can, Peter.
Are you talking about did you go immediately to the Office of Emergency Management?
I went down to the scene and we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street, which was right there with the police commissioner, the fire commissioner, and we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse. And it did collapse before we could actually get out of the building.
Who didn't warn everyone in the building?
I admire that greatly, and I think that may very well be one of the reasons for your leadership and your cooperation. Thank you.
The 9/11 Commission would release its final report on July 22nd, 2004, and closed its doors on August 21st.
So the 9/11 Commission was a cover-up. The question is what it was covering up. The charitable explanation is gross negligence, malfeasance, misfeasance, and what you call it. Okay.
If you can't read all 571 pages of the report, in August 2006, the 9/11 Report comic book was released. It should tell you all you need to know.
Wow. The comic book?
On the morning of September 11th, 19 Arabs boarded 4 commercial airliners at 3 different airports and crashed them into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon with 0 military intervention. Or, we have been and continue to be lied to about the events of September 11th, and that elements within the United States government and mainstream media continue to cover up the truth. These are the same people that lied about weapons of mass destruction. They endorsed a lie that's killed several 100,000 innocent people overseas. Could they also endorse a lie that killed almost 3,000 innocent people in our own country? Our entire foreign and domestic policy has been based upon the events of September 11th. It has enabled the passage of Patriot Acts 1 and 2, established the Department of Homeland Security, facilitated the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq,
Islam more possible.
passed the Military Commissions Act.
Now, everything happened with all these passing these acts after 9/11. All this House Resolution 6166, the other House resolution, all these resolutions was to script you away from your liberties, okay? And steal and take all the gold, all that, and kill innocent people too. Because not just that, they got bonds on people. So all the deaths and stuff like that, that's money too. Well, you know, however you want to look at it. You know what I mean? Because just like when the people was in the crowd and Mayor Giuliani was trying to talk and it was like, ass kisser. You know what I mean? Like, stop with this bullshit. Let's get to the facts. Let's ask some real questions. You know what I mean? Like, why you up here playing games, sir? You know what I mean? Like, look what we failed to. Like, look at this shit. Like,
because now when they put forth these executive orders like the Patriot Act 1 and 2, those are security administrative joints that like basically tore apart anything of privacy for United States citizens.
Right. Took all your privacy. That's why we have these Facebooks and everything else censoring you and all this shit. Because
we know Homeland Security is a whole new government. That's like the new like United States corporation. That's the new one.
FEMA, Homeland Security, all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just more security on top of security, huh?
Yep. So 9/11 set the stage for stuff like Katrina to happen.
Yeah.
Another staged and event.
Yeah. Because it's all about taking and tricking and robbing natural resources and making money in the process, that's gonna fund said government, to keep them out of debt, and to scheme and to steal in the profit, and all type of things. So just look at the history though. Like, people don't look at Bush like the main corporate, of really selling, the United States citizens out. Like, he's the main part of it. And, it was people before him too. But, you could just look at it and people can see this on their own and, judge for their own coherence. You feel me? But we can go ahead and proceed, Noble.
And it's like you used to say, like, where was where was Homeland Security, the Patriot Act, and all that back before, with 47 years of a crime bill under Dan Biden, where they would snatch up unconscious Moors, giving them crazy time, and Giuliani.
Right. Because it's all is a trick, more like everything that they brought here, the crack epidemic, all the,
that's a Jada line.
Yeah.
Like, Giuliani might as well be jerking because the time that he giving out is hurting. I mean,
yeah,
this is crazy.
Yeah. It's all to oppress people. It's all to, script people of their, rights. You know what I mean? Like, everything that's been has been done for a reason. And the main people we think that did it didn't do it.
These people got mad at Islam, bro. Like, don't you now watch this whole stigma where people is mad at Islam and pissed off at Moors and trying to call Moors Muslims and Arabs and all that. That's all
domestic terrorists and sovereign citizens and all this other bull crap.
All post 9/11 BS.
Bullshit.
Look at what this thing did. Hold on.
Which officially ended habeas corpus.
Habeas corpus.
Damn.
See? Habeas corpus. That's what
Look,
1776. Look, 1776. That's why they did it, more. It all adds up.
Oh.
Look, they telling us.
The Patriot Act.
Yes.
Gosh, man.
So that's why that shit doesn't not apply to more. That's why we cannot be United States citizens.
Goddamn fools. How many times do we gotta say this? Look, more. Look at what this thing is called. Look at what they call it.
Yeah. Habeas corpus.
Look what they call this thing. You have the body, name given to a variety of writs, of which these were anciently the emphatic words, having for their object to bring a party before the court or judge in common usage, and whenever these words were used alone, they were understood to mean habeas corpus ad subjudiendum. Now, wait a minute. I gotta find where they break this word down. Common law writs.
Issue to bring a party before a court or judge. Habeas corpus is subjudice, the right of a citizen to obtain a writ. Right?
Yep.
A writ
now
into lawfulness of the restraint of a person who is in prison or detained in another's custody. So that's for us, more like for our own government. Like, let's say if somebody is detained, right, and they got one of our Maurs is detained, we should be able to have a habeas corpus put out for we can get our Maur out. You see what I'm saying? So post 9/11 changed all that. And why would they want to? Why would they want to do that? To enslave people? It was no real terrorist attack, more. They staged all this stuff.
The Great Writ. The Great Writ, more.
Yeah.
That's what they call the goddamn habeas corpus. The power is habeas corpus in America, the Great Writ.
Right. And see, that will get out a lot of innocent people that's held captive in these prisons, more.
From the king's prerogative to the war on terror.
Right. And then look, the war on terror, right? So the war on terror, right, is the decline of the United States government, okay? Because of the impurities that they've been doing to their own citizens. You see what I'm saying? So they don't want nobody who knows government to, be in their way. So if they can get you out of the way and put you there and you innocent, like they got a lot of innocent people locked up now to this day, you can't do nothing about it. You see what I'm saying? They could just hold you for ransom.
The writ of habeas corpus is known as the great and effectuous writ in all manner of illegal confinement.
So they stopping people from getting people out for illegal confinement, more. That means they could just hold you with impunity, I mean.
Oh, more incommunicado. God damn, more.
Right.
That's John Wick.
That's what's going on right now, more.
Incommunicado.
And guess how much money they making off of private prisons, more?
Oh,
guess how much?
All the money.
Where
all the fiat's going.
The prisons is making trillions of Federal Reserve notes. They even made contracts with the high schools to get your children to come straight there. You know.
You listen up, you listen up.
See?
Listen up, you rappers.
Facts about hip hop and prison for profit. Okay.
Come on, Maurs.
Look, they got a barcode.
Get it on in, Maurs. Get it on in. Get it on in there.
The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons. The exact same people, and using one to promote the other is or would be, depending on your analysts, very lucrative. I mean, so
what's the date, more?
September 7, 2016. Huh? Okay. All right. Then 9/11.
4 days before the goddamn. I'm like, come on, Maurs.
Then 9/11, huh, Mark? Then 9/11, huh, Mark? Then 9/11. Okay.
Barcode, the goddamn. What's this? The Social Security barcode number?
Yeah,
like
barcode. That's how they enslaving you. They letting you know. And these people want to put barcodes on their nationality cards.
Golden Underground TV recently released an interview I did with them last year. I got a bit animated at the end. Only so many interviews in a row could be handled being asked about Chief Keef. My tirade wasn't really about Chief Keef. It wasn't about Gucci Mane or Waka Flocka or any of the acts of the act spontaneously catapulted into stardom by synchronized mass media coverage, despite seemingly universal indifference at the very best regarding their talent, whose arrest, involvement in underage pregnancy,
concert shootouts,
underage pregnancy, God,
make conversation for weeks at a time with their actual music, a mere afterthought if thought of at all.
Come on. My tirade was about marketing. It was about media power seeking out the biggest pretend criminal kingpins they can find, many of whom shamelessly adopt names of actual real-life criminal kingpins like 50 Cent and Rick Ross, and exalting them by the poster children for a culture. So you're making them the poster children for our youth, our children.
Right.
It was about an art form reduced to product placement and selling of a lifestyle, and ultimately a huge ad for imprisonment. This is not my opinion. Last year, Corrections Corporation of America, CCA, the biggest name in private prison industry, contacted 48 states offering to buy their prisons. One stipulation of their eligibility for the deal was particularly bizarre, an assurance by the agency partner that the agency has sufficient inmate population to maintain a minimum 90% occupancy rate over the term of the contract.
Now, what that is all about there, Moore? Huh? Over 90%?
That's right.
The minimum is 90%.
Oh, the term of the contract. What contract? What contract? People.
Then it said, what kind of legitimate and ethical measures could possibly be taken to ensure the maintenance of a 90% prison occupancy rate, right? 2 months later, an anonymous email was sent out to various members of the music and publishing industries, giving an account of a meeting where it was determined that hip-hop music would be manipulated to drive up privatized prisons profits. Its authors, despite claiming to be a former industry insider, did not provide the names of anyone involved in the plot, nor did he specify by which company he himself was employed. As such, the latter was largely regarded as a fraud for lack of facts. 90% of what Americans read, watch and listen to is controlled by only 6 media companies. PBS Frontline has described the calamities that determine, calamities that determine what information is dismantled to the public as a web or business relationship that now defines America's media and culture business relationships. Last year, 232 media executives were responsible for the intake of 277 million Americans, controlling all the avenues necessary to manufacture any celebrity and incite any trend. Time Warner, as owner of Warner Brothers Records, among many other records labels, can not only sign an artist to a record contract, but as the owner of Entertainment Weekly, can see to it that they get next week's cover. Also, the owner of New Line Cinemas, HBO, and TNT, they can have their artists cast in a leading role in a film that, when pulled from theaters, will be put into rotation, first on premium, then on basic cable, without
like with right now, they got this whole thing with movies that's coming out in the theater and on HBO Max. Matrix.
Yeah,
which is Warner Brothers.
Right. So that's what
Warner.
Right. And that's who's pumping all this gangster-fied, dope boy, hip hop, lifestyle culture that, because let's just put some in real time. Like,
so that'll ruin Matrix for us, won't it? Did we know that Matrix is like that?
Right.
The fun for us going to go watch that movie is going to put money into the pockets of these industry heads, and that's going to get the Benzes and the ice board and the diamonds and the jewelry and the naked women in the mansions, so we can watch this pedophilic, excuse for hip hop in front of our babies' faces.
Right.
And it's geared to private prisons.
Right.
So let's keep on diving into the
and not just that. It's afforded to our youth getting killed out here in the streets recklessly.
Yep.
So let me put that in real time. So let's go back. New Line
Cinemas. Black Lives Matter don't talk about. They don't talk about all these deaths that happen in the hood by other dark-skinned people because of music and fucking drugs.
And influences.
They don't talk about that. They like to talk about, but white cop kills black. No. Deal with how the white cop even get called out there.
Right. Because
let's deal with that. Why are we only looking at one joint? Let's look at the other one. We already know that's all. It's all staged. But why are we not even? Well, that's the reason. It's a stage.
Right. And now, when we talk about certain things that's killing us, right, and we shedding light on it, right, then everybody is like, well, nah, we can't take all that serious. It's just entertainment. Really? So if it's just entertainment, why don't we stop doing it and try to entertain ourselves with something different that's going to really, cultivate our minds and put us in a different mind thought, in a different pattern? How about that? See? But they don't want to do that. And for us as a people, we need to, get hip to that and understand that everything is put out there for your demise, not just for your entertainment. So now we're gonna get back into this. Is also the owner of the New Line. Let me see what it says. Owner of Warner Brothers Recordings, among many of other record labels, can not only sign an artist to a recording contract, but as the owner of Entertainment Weekly, can see to it that they get next week's cover. Also, the owner of New Line Cinemas, HBO, and TNT, they can have their artists cast in a leading role in a film that, when pulled from theaters, will be put into rotation, first on premium, then on basic cable, without any consideration to the music whatsoever. The artist will already be a star through such monopolies, also extending into radio stations and networks that air music videos for consumers. Choice is often illusionary. But both BT and MTV belong to Viacom, while Hot 97, New York City's top hip hop station, is owned by MS. Communications. Online streaming is controlled by Clear Channel, who
Mhm.
also owns rival station Power 105.
It's not even a competition. They own the competition. Illusion of
Right.
competition.
So when you buy out all the competition, all you do is getting fat, and you pump out whatever product you selling, and that's it. You ain't got no competition because everybody work for you.
Come on, this is where it gets good.
Okay, none of this is exactly breaking news, but when ownership of these media conglomerates is cross-checked with ownership of the biggest names in prison, privatization, interesting new facts emerge. According to public analysts from Bloomberg, the largest holder in Corrections Corporation of America is Vanguard Group Incorporated. Interestingly enough, Vanguard also holds considerable stake in the media giants determining this country's culture. In fact, Vanguard is the third largest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner.
Whoa. Stop. Now, that's all your little music stuff and how we see music.
Yeah.
This is all the movies that take the damn rappers and get the damn soundtracks done and all of that.
Yep. They own everything. Everything is the third biggest holder in both Viacom and Time Warner. Vanguard is also the third largest holder in the GEO group, whose correctional detention and community reentry services boast 101 facilities, approximately 73,000 beds, and 18,000 employees. Second nationally only to Corrections Corporations of America, GEO's facilities are located not only in the United States, but in the United Kingdom, Australia, and South Africa.
Come on.
And guess who all in those prisons? Guess who all in those prisons?
The Maurs.
You may be thinking, well, Vanguard is only the third largest holder in those media conglomerates, which is no guarantee that they're calling any shots. Well, the number one holder of both Viacom and the Time Warner is a company called BlackRock. BlackRock is the second largest holder in Corrections Corporations of America, second only to Vanguard, and the sixth largest holder in the GEO group. There are many other starting overlaps in private prison mass media ownership, but two underlying facts become clear very quickly. The people who own the media are the same people who own private prisons, the exact same people, and using one to promote the other is or would be, depending on your analysis, very lucrative. Such a scheme would mean some very greedy, very racist people. No, there are facts to be back up to.
There are facts to back up. We got receipts. It's receipts with this.
Yeah. Prison industry lobbyists developing and encouraging criminal justice policies to advance financial interests has been well documented. The most notorious example is the Washington-based American Legislative Council, a policy organization funded by CCCA and GEO, which successfully championed the incarceration, promoting truth and sentencing and three-strike sentencing laws. If the motive of the private prison industries were the good-hearted desire to get hold of inmates as quickly as possible for the purpose of sooner successfully rehabilitating them, the maintenance of a 90% occupancy rate would be considered a huge failure, not a functioning prerequisite. Likewise, the largest rise in incarceration that this country has ever seen collaborates precisely with early age prison privatization.
So this whole thing is what started the crack epidemic, right? And the war on drugs.
Everything was based to make money, right? And lock up all the indigenous people, Aboriginal people, which is the Maurs. You see what I'm saying? And they got a union, they got a union from Britain, the United Kingdom, right? Which is the union, right? Which went back to the British Moors, right? That they sold out, and now they running it, and now they locking up Moors. So, boom.
So
what do these people don't understand?
They don't. I guess they don't read. This, despite the fact that crime rates actually declined since that time, or since this time, This decreasing crime rate was pointed out as enthusiastically by skeptics eager to debunk last year's anonymous industry insider, who painted a picture of popularized hip-hop as a tool for imprisoning masses.
Right.
See?
Now look.
See?
Now look, let's stop right here, right? And go back to the Panthers Party movement, right? Okay.
Oh, more. We gotta finish this. We gotta finish this paragraph.
Yeah.
We have to. Oh yes, read it up. Yes.
Yeah. So
what wasn't pointed out was that despite crime rates going down, incarceration rates have skyrocketed. While the size of the prison population changed dramatically, so did its complexion. In All Eyes on Me, America War on Drugs in the Prison Industrial Complex. Andre Douglas, Pond Cummings. This documents the obvious truth that the vast majority of the prisoner increase in the United States has come from the African American and Latino citizens drug arrest. What do you mean it changed? What do you mean? It's complexion. They are telling you that the prison population was not.
Right.
Come on, Maurs. Come on now. The prison population in America used to be outside of the complexion of so-called African Americans, so-called Latinos, who together comprise the Moorish Americans. So you mean to tell me the complexion look like Christians, aka United States citizens?
Yeah. That's what it was. That's why the war on drugs and crack epidemic and all that was for. Because who was going to prison back in those days? Those was all mobsters and criminals that was running and bootlegging and all this crap. Okay? They was going back and forth in prison.
And some people like Bumpy Johnson and them were against crack cocaine and stuff like that being in the hood. Add to this well-documented statistics proving that the so-called war on drugs has been waged almost entirely on low-income communities of color, where up until just 2 years ago, cocaine sold in crack form fetched sentences 100 times as lengthy as the same exact amount for cocaine sold in powder form.
Yeah, that was all
designed. Much more common in cocaine arrest in affluent communities.
Yeah, hip hop selling drugs. You know what I mean? Had a wicked jump shot or sell crack. That's what Biggie said, huh?
Yep. Now what the hell he said? Why? So that was by design, Biggie. So now that makes a whole new aspect on if you're us loving hip hop when. If this is a fact, I mean, oh man, it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, well I just like it for some. What do you at the end of the day? It's like it's supporting your people.
And they took away all our conscious right.
Prison making money for the people, putting the people. Yo, the same people that came up here and tried to run a slave story narrative on us, they're making money off of the real slavery of your people going to jail for nothing.
Right.
Because they do the cocaine arrest, right? And I don't know if it's in here, but what it say? Affluent community. So we know that's the up communities, not the Negro so-called communities.
Right.
In July 10, 2010. The oddly named Fair Sentencing Act was adopted. It's oddly named because it wasn't fair sentencing, which rather than reducing crack powder disparity from 100-1 to 1-1, reduced it to 18-1, which is still grossly unfair. This is not to suggest that crack powder disparately represents the extent of the racism rampant within the incarceration industry. The U.S. Sentencing Commission reported in March 2010 that in the federal prison system, even were convicts for the exact same crimes, people of color receive prison sentences 10% longer.
Absolutely right. Because that's what it was all made by design. And then the 3-strike rule, right? That's putting you in prison for life. So you can go in there and make license plates and AC parts and all type of stuff. It's all by design.
Where convictions are identical, mandatory minimum sentences are also 21% more likely for.
And then
you gotta have a nationality.
That's why they want to push the LG.
More.
QP
Hold up.
stuff.
As soon as I said you have to have a nationality, this pops up.
Right.
This pops up right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
See what I'm saying? More. They
it's lined up.
More.
Lined up. But Morris, if you know how to see, if you can see, it pulled right up. I'm like, damn, people. I didn't want to say it. I'm like, you gotta have a nationality. I go right there. It is. Wow.
Yassine Bey,
finale. Let us not forget the wealth of evidence to support the notion that crime, drug, and prison glorifying hip hop only outsells the other hip hop because it receives so much more exposure and financial backing, and that when given equal exposure, talent is much more reliable indicator of success than content. Who are we talking about? Yassine Bey, formerly some guy, put it best. This is great. Hip hop is the shorthand for black people. Come on. Before our eyes and ears, and web of business and relationships now defines America's media and culture. Has one particular business ranking in the billions and billions of dollars, while another defines the culture of specific demographic as criminal. Both businesses are owned by the same people. Mainstream media continue to endorse hip hop that glorifies criminality, most notable drug trafficking and violence.
Right.
Private prison interests, long since proven to the same profits over human rights, usher in inmates of color to meet the capacity quotas.
The same people disproportionately incarcerated when exposed to the criminal justice system are at every turn inundated with media normalizing incarceration to the point that whatever there is mainstream hip-hop music reference to imprisonment as an ordinary, even expected component of life is sure to follow. Conspiracy theorists get a lot of flack for daring entertain the notion that people will do evil things for money. Historically, atrocities like slavery and the Holocaust are universally acknowledged, yet simultaneously adopted is the contradictory position that there can't possibly be any human beings around intelligent enough, any moral enough to participate such things. Even in the midst of the Europe-wide beef that was actually horse meat fiasco and the release of real life nightmare documenting films like Sunshine and Oranges, there is an abundance of people content to believe that the only conspiracies that ever exist are those that have successfully been exposed. The link between mass media and the prison industrial complex, however, is part of a very different type of conversation. The information in this article was not difficult to find. It is all public. This is not a conspiracy. This is a fact. Islam.
Here's one of the documents they found. He pulled it from the CTA, more.
Yeah. So this is what it all conspired of, Morris. 9/11 was to just make money off the industry and to control your hip hop and to deny you habeas corpus. You know what I mean? Because they locked you up, for nothing. So that's why, you know what I mean, we can't get no Moors out on habeas corpus because that's what they did. They denied the treaties. 1776. It's in stone.
Caffeine is damn near higher than damn marijuana.
Because
it's the same, but nobody's going to. What the hell? Everything skyrockets over marijuana, but that's like on a. Well, it was.
You
All
know.
the damn arrests that happened. Yeah, I know it was.
Yeah.
They apologized too.
Right.
Congress apologized.
Yeah, they apologized, but yeah, they need to take every felony off everybody that they incarcerated for cannabis.
Right. No apology.
No apologies. Just swipe it off everybody's record.
They're gonna apologize for 9/11 one day if they didn't already do it.
These
That's
people.
how this stuff works.
These people.
Look, more.
Yeah. Yeah. Blow that up more. Blow it up a little bit if you can. Yeah, that's perfect. Acknowledging that the war on drugs has been a failed policy in achieving the goal of reducing drug use, and for the House of Representatives to apologize to the individuals and communities that were victimized by this policy.
Let's see what communities are. Let's see what communities and victims. Let's see.
Whereas in the 1930s, the first commissioner of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, Harry J. Ansler, was a strong opponent to marijuana, pushed a heavy propaganda campaign to demonize marijuana use, stating that it caused people to become violent and criminals. Whereas much of this propaganda was racially charged against the Mexican-American community. For example, as Commissioner Anslinger testified to the 75th Congress in 1937 that I wish I could show you what a small marijuana cigarette can do to one of our degenerate Spanish-speaking residents. That's why our problem is so great. The greatest percentage of our population is composed of Spanish-speaking persons, most of who are low mentally because of social and racial conditions.
What the fudge?
I know, right? Whereas in 1937, the 75th Congress passed the Marijuana Tax Act, which criminalized marijuana, and laws passed during the following years were introduced to institute mandatory minimum sentences for those who bought, sold, and used the drug, which is not a damn drug. Whereas over the course of the next few decades, studies conducted by scientists did not find any connection between the use of marijuana and violent behaviors. And in 1973, the Schaffer Commission reported on marijuana and drugs concluded that the commission believes that the contemporary American drug problem has emerged in part from our institutional response to drug use. We have failed to weave policies into the fabric of social institutions. Whereas, despite mounting evidence, the federal government approach to the abuse of drugs continue to be one of criminalizing drugs abuse instead of treatment. Whereas on June 18, 1971, President Richard Nixon declared a war on drugs, stating that drug abuse is public enemy number one. Whereas the federal government attitude toward drug use as a criminal problem only intensified with stricter drug laws, and the government put little to no focus on treating those impacted. Whereas the war on drugs was admitted to be a move by the Nixon administration to attack his political opponents, and in 1994, President Richard Nixon's aide, John Eldridgeman, admitted in an interview that the war on drugs was a tool to arrest and manipulate blacks and liberals, stating we knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war on blacks, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
Read it again. No. Damn it. Again, more. Damn.
All right. I got you, Mark. I got you. President Richard Nixon. Richmond admitted in an interview that the war on drugs was a tool to arrest and manipulate blacks and liberals, stating we knew the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily. We could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
They still doing it. They still are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And these people, y'all sitting there and believing them. What is wrong with y'all, bro? Do you not know what these people have done and admitted to doing, and they're still doing it? Y'all going to sit there and follow them and call anything? Look at what these people is admitting that they did.
Yeah, and then we could pull up several news clippings on how policy enforcers planted drugs on innocent people so they can have an arrest on them and fill their prisons. Now, whereas in 1986, the 99th Congress passed the Anti-Drug Abuse Act, establishing for the first time mandatory minimum sentences for those convicted of having specific amounts of cocaine. Whereas in 1989, drug Caesar William Bennett announced a $7 billion 900 million plan to combat the drug epidemic, but 70% of that amount went to hiring more law enforcement personnel and building prisons. Whereas the money
they got him. This is a drug czar.
Yeah, drugs.
So you wanted to combat the damn drug epidemic, but no, they like no. Let's build more prisons so we could put.
Yeah. Whereas that money could have been better used to help provide treatment to those on heroin, cocaine, and other drugs, but y'all want to build prisons with that. So y'all didn't help the epidemic at all. Y'all just threw money at building new private prisons and just lock everybody up. And then once everybody, you give them all this time, they'll sober up and then they'll work for you for the rest of their life. Okay.
These paragraphs are
like
crucial.
Yeah, and then it says, whereas in 1986, the 99th Congress increased the sentences for dealing and possessing crack cocaine, and in a few years, enhanced law enforcement presence loomed over the aggressively policed communities of color. Right. Whereas to this day, these laws greatly target communities of color, dramatically increasing the incarceration rate of these communities and imposing a stigma that people of color are the main users of drugs, despite white Americans using drugs at a similar, if not greater rate.
Let's go back to the top. This is a House resolution. This is not like they were just making this up. These people just said this.
Right.
This
is facts.
For crying out loud.
This is facts. Like, you could go look this up on your own, in your own time, in your own study, if you do so.
We against the crack cocaine, the heroin, and the crack cocaine, the heroin, the cocaine, all those those manipulated chemical drugs. We're against all that. But right. This is mainly how they use marijuana to be in the same rating as those.
In the same boat, so they can enslave you, lock you up, and destroy your families. Tear you away from your home, tear you away from your children, tear you away from your mother, tear you away from your father, anybody, whoever, tear you away from them. And then make money, Federal Reserve notes, all in the process.
More, they made a crack epidemic spark off in the hood. Watch. In the spring of 1986, American politicians and news media began an extraordinary anti-drug frenzy that ran until 1992. Just that Hands Across America stuff and all that, and us. Newspapers, magazines, and television networks regularly carried lurid stories about the new epidemic or plague of drug use, especially of crack cocaine. They said this epidemic was spreading rapidly from cities to the suburbs and was destroying American society. It is certainly true that the United States has real health and social problems that resulted from illegal and legal drug use, but it is certainly also true that the period from 1986
Yeah.
through 1992 was characterized by anti-drug extremism.
Right.
They made it a thing.
Right. And they made it up. They made all this up. They put, and then look, the Molly Percocet, and oxycodone and all that skyrocketed too, because guess who they got to promote it?
The rap.
Okay then. All righty.
Since the late 90s, right? Because early 2000s, prescription opioids legally sold nearly quadrupled from 1999 to 2010.
Right.
Let's see more. Let's see.
Don't forget the lean.
What year? 2017.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look, whereas the National Center for Health Statistics suggested there were more than 70,200 drug overdose deaths in 2017. That was a majority of these deaths come from synthetic opioids like fentanyl.
Yeah. Molly Percocet. Gotta represent. Huh?
Chase the bitch, never chase a bitch. Okay. Chase a check. No, sorry. Chase a check. Never chase the Moabite. Don't chase the Moabite. Chase a check.
Chase the check. Yeah.
While you're on Molly and Percocets, that does this to the community and to the area. Okay.
While you're on Molly Percocet. Yeah.
Okay.
Chase the check. Molly
Whereas
Percocet.
let's do this more. March 29, 2017, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to establish the President's Commission on the Combating Drug Addiction and Opioid Crisis. In the preliminary report, and the commission has recommended that the opioid crisis, among other things, should be declared a national emergency. Trump did that. Trump made it a damn national emergency that should be treated, not thrown in jail for. March 29th, right?
Yeah.
20 days after this fool and his song, Trump combated it.
Right.
Because he knew what it was going to do. These people are sickening. I can't stand rap. Rap is
because they sold or they sold. They got this Lil Nas X guy, right? And he making like prison, got grown.
He a little cursed heathen.
Like that's somewhere to be. Like that's somewhere to be. Like that's a vacation trip or something. Huh?
He a little cursed heathen.
Huh? Like where they do that at, man? More like where do they do that at? These people are crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, let's finish this thing up. With 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
In Latin means you have the body. It's a provision in the law where no one can just scoop up someone, put them in a black hole, and keep them there without that person having the right to appeal to a court and say, you have the body. Now, what do you charge this person with, and what redress does he or she have?
As well as domestic surveillance, all in the name of fighting terrorism. And who ends up paying for all this? You do. Your children do. When President Bush entered office, he inherited a $284 billion surplus. His administration is now responsible for 4 out of the top 5 deficits in history. The 5th place belongs to his father. As of November 2nd, 2005, the Bush administration had borrowed more from foreign nations than all previous administrations combined. From 1776 to 2000, 42 presidents borrowed a total of $1.01 trillion from foreign governments and institutions. From 2001 to 2005, the Bush administration alone borrowed $1.05 trillion.
See the hand
Where
signal?
does this money go? The government designed by the and institutions. From 2001 to 2005,
what's they doing?
Baphomet.
The Bush administration alone borrowed $1.05 trillion. Where does this money go? The government designed by the people, for the people, has turned its back on us. Or have we turned our backs on it? They spy on us. They torture and imprison innocent civilians. Ask yourself, what's happening? Where are we headed? And would we be here today without 9/11?
Will somebody please tell us who's in charge? We need order. We can't stand this new world slaughter. There is the loyalty, somebody handshake to us.
That's Loose Change Final Cut novels. There's like a couple other ones, you know, of the same dude, what's his name, Dylan Avery. There's an original 9/11 movie. I mean, what's it called? Loose Change. This is like the 4th installment. But, you know, it's basically more of a breakdown of like how they did this before with Pearl Harbor and how that led into what this really is. So. But we see that all the stuff that caused turn this thing into some weirdness again and again and again and again every time.
Yeah, more like we just had to break it down. You know, sometimes history, you know, you look in the rearview mirror and then you know where you're going. After you see you clear, you can back up. Now you can pull off and go to the front. Because some people be crashing, like they don't look through the rearview at all. They just back and just hit all type of shit, and they wonder why.
Yeah, but shoot, that's a lot. It's a lot to digest, and when you just think of that little bit, like it's just even more of it. Like when you get to the end in the prison, all of that stuff with the rap music, and it just all feeds the same beast.
The same beast.
The damn democracy.
Right. And our people don't get it yet, but they soon will.
Oh yeah. Because time is, ticking, getting close to the end.
Right.
But we already know, like, it's just private side versus public, and then, active Moors versus passive, and nationality is always the order of the day. So.
Absolutely. So we're going to leave you Moors with that, and till next time.
Honest to the mothers, honest to the noble sons out there and the nobles, honor to Allah, the fathers of the universe, and their prophet,
of course,
Al-Hajj Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali,
yes,
also known as Noble Ali.
Yes. So, and that note, and then we want to give a shout out to the Grand Sheikh, Cool Joe, you already know Noble, and Oshangoel, and we just want to give a shout out to all the noble Moors out there, and peace in Islam.
Peace and love, nobles.